Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Orrin Johnson joins us, the attorney. He's a great commentator here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome to the Ahern Boutique Hotel, where luxury and warmth come together in the heart of Las Vegas.
We take pride in offering a one-of-a-kind experience for both locals and tourists.
Join us for handcrafted cocktails and an unforgettable experience.
Joel's Chop House, the perfect place to savor views of the Las Vegas Strip.
Satisfy your cravings at the Ahern Chocolate Shop.
No smoking, no resort fees, and the parking is always free. The Ahern Luxury Boutique Hotel is your home away from home.
Welcome to the Winnemucca Big R.
Hi, I'm John Walker. Welcome to Big R Lovelock.
Hi, I'm Rich Martin. Welcome to Fallon Big R.
My name is Braden. Welcome to Big R Fernley.
Hi, I'm Kelly. Welcome to Big R Sparks.
A new year brings new ways to win big with the $150,000 flurry of cash giveaways at Carson Valley Inn. Thursday and Saturday prize drawings, including up to $5,000 in cash and up to $10,000 during the grand prize giveaways, only at the Carson Valley Inn.
Here on 7 at 7, we're bringing you the local headlines in just 7 minutes.
We've got you covered in the morning, evening, and for all breaking news, in between, and as it happens.
Life is busy, and we don't waste your time. Join us for local news now streaming on our YouTube page.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're pleased to be joined by Orrin Johnson, the attorney. Thank you for hosting the show when I've been gone here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for letting me, have the keys to the car every once in a while. It's a lot of fun.
Well, you're very welcome. You do a great job. But I realized we hadn't talked on the show together for quite a while, so I want to have you back. First of all, your thoughts on the election, and were you surprised at the result, not only across the country, but here in Nevada as well?
No, I was not. I mean, you were watching the early results come in, especially in Nevada. The trends were clear by Election Day. There was really no doubt that Trump was going to win and win fairly decisively in Nevada. And if he was going to win fairly decisively in Nevada, there wasn't a lot of doubt that he was going to win fairly decisively in the rest of the country. A lot of the rules had changed to make, tighten up some of the things that, just sending ballots out to everybody. Obviously, that sort of changes things. But the real change was just, quite frankly, the Biden administration did not do a good job, and so they got fired. And people were able to compare, which has not happened in a century probably, from the last guy to the current guy, and said, the last guy was actually better, let's bring him back. And this time, hopefully, with a little bit of better plan, better discipline, some of those things. And so, I wasn't terribly surprised.
I think Ronald Reagan was the last one that said, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago?
Right.
And ironic with the passing, of course, of Jimmy Carter, who had an incredible life after the presidency rather than during.
No, he did. Although he's also spent a lot of time sort of, trying to broker peace with people that you shouldn't broker peace with. And I think that, we don't want to speak ill of the dead as the flags are still at half-mast, but at the same time, I don't think Jimmy Carter was as good of an ex-president as people think. I have a lot of very devout Jewish friends who, literally were posting on social media, ding dong, the witch was dead. I'm not even kidding. They were that upset with him over some of the things that they believe he was doing to almost support organizations like Hamas and Hezbollah, that he did not give full credit to being the terrorist organizations that they were. And so it's unfortunate, And I think it's okay to do even when somebody's just passed. And I don't think that means we're dancing on their grave, to say with all honesty, they got those things terribly, terribly wrong. And so when we look at that with that sort of clarity, I think that's actually why Joe Biden did as badly as he did, why Democrats did as badly as they did. It was this sort of cultural gut level election where people are like, no, there really are good guys and bad guys. There really is good and evil. There really is right and wrong. There really is objective truth. And a big part of the Democratic Party had gone, these sort of younger activists had really taken over in a lot of ways, especially on the federal level, but also sort of sneaking into the local and municipal level. Got so wrapped around the axle with, whether or not we're going to ban plastic straws or do this or that, and forgot to focus on, hey, we need to put a fence up at the border and fill potholes, and just sort of that practical governance. That's also part of that is, hey, we're proud of America. We want America to be great and robust and a leader in the world. And we've not been that in the last 4 years.
It's. And I think this happens, if you look throughout history, and not just this country, but every country, and go back to the days of Rome and Greece, etc., and even the Saracens, the Turkish Saracens, that they start going off in a direction that is just untenable to the majority of the population at a certain point, and that's, I think, what happened with the Democratic Party, and they just kept going and going and going, and now you're seeing the result of that. And not only that, but also when the person at the top obviously had become totally fallible. That had been hidden away for so long, but then when was presented in that debate, there was no more denying.
Well, and it wasn't just that it was sort of tucked away. It was actively being lied about. And so it was this thing where people knew that the emperor didn't have any clothes. They kind of understood it, but kept being told, no, he's sharp as a tack, whatever else. And when it sort of became obvious to all, then it created this huge cascade. And the credibility of both Democratic politicians all up and down the line, and a lot of media figures who were at that point just stenographers for that party and were actively pushing that party, which is unfortunate. All that credibility was gone. And so then people were actively seeking some sort of truth and looking for it everywhere. And that's where, that's why people ate up 3-hour Joe Rogan podcasts with J.D. Vance and Donald Trump. That's why people were so invested in X as it, transitioned from Twitter, and why that became so important. So the scale sort of fell off people's eyes. People wanted to believe that the media was objective and telling the truth and that sort of thing. And that debate wasn't just the fall of Joe Biden. It was the fall of an entire culture of, we're going to just kind of keep papering over this and pretending everything is okay, because it was not.
Okay, but, you can present arguments on both sides. I'm sure you did debate classes.
Oh, yeah.
And as an attorney, you represent one side or the other. And it's your job to actually defend a position that may not necessarily be yours, but is your client's. And you could just as easily present the other side of the case as well. In fact, it's probably very important for you to totally understand the other side of the case.
Well, I agree with that entirely. But the bottom line is that that's not what was happening in the country. That'd be great if it was. Every newsroom, if I owned a newspaper, a major news organization, I would actively seek out Republicans, people who are registered Republicans as my reporters, like not just the straight news reporters. Because you want that people kind of checking each other and debating each other and all that sort of thing. But beyond that, there's sort of a right and wrong aspect to it when the President of the United States is not competent. And I don't think Joe Biden's been truly competent for years, at least not 24 hours a day. It was the responsibility of people to speak up. But doing so would have harmed their own power base. And power is a drug, and people will do all kinds of things to get their fix. There are too many people who are exercising power that could get away with doing whatever they wanted to because the boss is literally asleep at the switch or in Delaware eating ice cream, and there was nobody else there to tell them no. And too many other people were benefiting from that, from boss not being around, basically. And so that's why people didn't say anything. And that's just deeply wrong.
The media itself, it has taken a beating, rightly so, because it has become so politicized. And I'm not saying it wasn't always politicized, because if you go back to when there were only 2 networks, Bill Paley defended CBS News against the federal government during the McCarthy era and risked his licenses. But he certainly wasn't on the Republican side of things. He was on the Democratic side of things. And he allowed his network to carry that flag. So the idea that there has not been bias, the only one, and I'm sure there are tons of other examples that I don't know about, but the biggest one that I can think of where back then in the late 1800s, the New York Times was owned by Adolph Hawks. He had bought the paper. And he basically said, I don't care what the advertisers think. We are going to tell the truth. We're going to tell the story. And the money part is not relevant. He had enough money to not worry. That may have been the last time that actually occurred. In Nevada, there's a book called Nevada Newspaper Days that talks about the town of Eureka, Nevada. Right before an election, it had 5 newspapers. I think the town was about 40,000 people at the time. And this again was in, I think, the late 1800s. Had 5 newspapers before Election Day. After Election Day, it had none, because they were all supporting one candidate or another. So this is really not new. But let me proffer an idea here, because I've been in the news business a long time. Newsrooms, as a rule, don't pay very much money. And the money is paid to people in the sales department and in management, which is not shocking. A lot of businesses operate that way. So while the salespeople are driving around in really nice cars, the reporters are struggling to put food on the table. And you don't build a good conservative base when the people in the newsroom are struggling. And I think that's been part of the problem, is that you are developing people who are anti-business, they're anti-conservative issues, they're anti-budget cutting, because they are suffering as part of that. I mean, when I started in television news, I couldn't believe that they weren't buying yellow pads and pencils and reporters' notebooks. And I asked about it, and they said, well, at this point in the budget year, we have to cut the budget. And I'm like, a newsroom that doesn't have pencils and reporters' notebooks? But that was the reality.
Right. Well, and
I had to buy my own, by the way.
Well, and it's interesting, because it's less about, certainly you want to pay people well if you want them to do a good job and all that sort of thing. I agree with you. I think that this sort of era of we pretend that the news is unbiased was almost detrimental. I actually trust a news source more that just wears it on their sleeve and says, hey, this is where I'm coming from, and so this is where I'm at. I want to see their biases, let's put them on the table, than those that try to hide it. Then we got to uncover their donations and all that sort of thing. I agree with that. But at the same time, you actively want, right now we hire people out of journalism school instead of crusty blue-collar guys, which is what journalism traditionally sort of was, who kind of hated everybody. And so they didn't take anybody, instead of cheerleading from one side or the other. And so now we got kind of college graduates who want to be activists in the vein of what they imagined Woodward and Bernstein to have been, versus people that really want to just question everybody, devil's advocate against everybody, don't trust any politician, no matter what party they belong to. Those are the best types of journalists.
The problem here for the general public is that you have to do a lot of research to be able to find the balance, and you have to read more than one side. If all you're hearing is the echo chamber, then that's all you're hearing. But in the end, and this was proven out in this election cycle, what happens in your pocketbook rises above everything else.
No, it's ultimately all politics is local, and there's nothing more local than your own house, and that's absolutely true. But the other thing that we're seeing is that we don't have these monopolies of sort of major news organizations anymore. Now we do have 5 newspapers in Elko. Except we have even more, because there's lots of people who are spreading information, have the ability to spread information literally worldwide. And if they're doing a good job at it, they get picked up and they can go. And that's true with social media, that's true with podcasting, it's true with all the rest of the stuff. And that's why during the Biden years, the Biden administration tried to crack down on Facebook and Twitter, and as Zuckerberg recently kind of came out, which should have been a much bigger scandal. It's a scandal that it's not a bigger scandal within the media, but with the purchase by Elon Musk of X, a lot flowed out that wasn't necessarily flowing out. That's how it should be. We want to have all those voices, and so of course now the business side of the newspaper industry or the television news industry has to kind of reckon with that, and that's challenging too. But that's a new paradigm.
It's going to be interesting now that the media landscape, especially in a place like Nevada that only has really 2 markets for broadcast television, and there was so much money flowing in this election cycle that they couldn't handle the amount of advertising, that all these other sources are now getting funding, much less than they would have if they were a TV station. But how long do the TV stations maintain the hold when people are moving, not to large slices of the marketplace, with the exception of a Joe Rogan type, but how long do they survive when there are going to be all these other places that are covering the news in some form or other, not necessarily journalism school news?
I'm sort of surprised that they've lasted this long, honestly. I mean, I'm sort of always surprised how many people still watch local news. I think it's a good thing that they do, but I don't watch regular TV anymore. I mean, I've had a commercial running for my law practice for almost 2 years now. I've actually never seen it in the wild, and because I
have seen it.
No, which I appreciate. A lot of people have. It's good. But I tend to consume my television streaming. I like it better that way, or watch a lot of movies, or I listen to podcasts, or listen to a lot of books on tapes. And so there's a decentralization of that. That's sort of interesting, which is a whole other discussion from sort of a cultural cohesion standpoint. But I think that, we're going to continue to see this dispersal with more people doing their own thing and actually attracting some advertising dollars because, hey, there's only so many slots there. And then, maybe we'll actually see more smaller, not the networks per se, but kind of outlets that people are gravitating towards.
It's the same story always, which is you can't sell what you're doing. You have to sell what you're going to do for somebody else. If you're only selling, buy me because I'm great, that don't fly. But buy me because I can help you make more money or influence, that's the selling point. Let's take a break. We'll come back more with Orrin Johnson after this timeout.
Story County is leading Nevada. Home of the Tahoe-Reno Industrial Center, Google, Tesla, Panasonic, and other world-leading companies. Story County provides thousands of tech, advanced manufacturing, and logistics careers for Nevadans. We're diversifying and driving Nevada's economy and generating millions in tax revenue and billions in economic activity across northern Nevada. Story County is leading Nevada's future.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Early in the morning or throughout the night, professional truck drivers are on the job, serving you, safely moving freight that's crucial to our economy. From the oldest industries to our newest innovators, from the exotic to the everyday, trucks are everywhere, moving everything. Never afraid to embrace a future that makes Nevada and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with attorney Orrin Johnson. The legislative session is almost upon us, as Lindsay Knox pointed out, less than a month away. What do you think is going to come out of this?
So I think it's going to be fascinating. I think the governor is in the catbird seat because the numbers for the Democrats look huge. They're not super majorities, but they're close.
Barely, yeah.
But that makeup of our state legislature doesn't really represent the state itself. It is so ridiculously gerrymandered. And the problem for that is that a lot of Democrats are in a bubble. When you're in a very gerrymandered district, and that's true of Republicans too, but the real issue here and sort of the power dynamics, they're in such a bubble with their gerrymandered districts that they're essentially untouchable. So they can do all kinds of stupid things. And this is the thing with politicians, is that they get into Carson City, the bubble forms, everybody that's been there has seen it, experienced it, it's a palpable thing. And it happens to everybody, no matter how well-meaning or how sort of, thoughtful you think you are, that bubble forms and it separates you from the people that you're representing. And if you're not worried about getting reelected because you're in such a stacked gerrymandered district, then it allows you to not be disciplined. It allows you to kind of be stupid. And so I think that there's going to be a big challenge between Democrats who are, a little hungrier, a little more at risk, and those who are not. Democrats who understand that this kind of hyper-progressive, for lack of a better word, I hate all those labels, but that's what it is, and the ones that want to fill potholes, there's going to be a lot of clashes with those. And smart Republicans, if they're smart, are going to look for those, look to peel off some of the more conservative Democrats and try to work with them. And all politicians are going to gravitate towards the power centers, the successful power centers. And so if that works out that way, then I think the governor will have a better election. But he's got wins at his back. With the Trump win, Republicans feel like they won, even though the numbers aren't necessarily in their favor.
All right, let's take another break, and we'll be right back with Orrin Johnson after this.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
The new year is bringing so much fun to Tamarack Casino with cash and free play drawings Thursdays and Saturdays, and $40,000 in grand finale giveaways Thursday, February 27th. Your good times are at Tamarack Casino.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Orrin Johnson, the attorney. It's going to be an interesting session with the governor up for re-election in 2 years. And already the Attorney General has said that he's running. There is talk of potentially Steve Sisolak running. Your thoughts on an election, a legislative session with all this playing in the background, maybe foreground?
Well, as a guy who thinks that Governor Lombardo has done a great job and brought a lot of common sense back with a lot of well-deserved vetoes in the last legislative session, and a guy who thought that Governor Sisolak was awful, particularly during COVID, and as a guy who thinks that Aaron Ford would be also awful. I'm sort of looking.
No. Seriously, you just. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, so
No,
truly, I think that I'm shy. No. I think that that primary be very destructive for the Democrats. And that's where they go. But ultimately, I think it doesn't matter if there's a primary or not. I mean, the state is getting sort of more Republican as more Republicans are moving out of California and are here, and I think that the numbers show that both.
By the way, just to interrupt you for a second, that's a really interesting statement because it's true, but so many people think that when people are coming from California, it's Democrats democratizing Nevada.
Yeah, no,
and it's not true.
The data does not support that. They're refugees. They're coming here to flee, and they're voting Republican, which is good that they're not bringing their bad habits along with them. We don't suffer the same fate California suffered.
And it's going to be interesting the effect of the fires in Southern California on what happens to the political class in California and what happens with people who are needing housing when we don't have housing already and they could be heading our way.
That's a fact.
That's where we have to leave it. But come back soon. Come back during session.
Anytime.
All right.
Anytime.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Sam.
Orrin Johnson, and we'll be right back.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the Do It Right guys and get the heat back on today. Call us today and we'll fix it today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why freeze for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your furnace fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
We wouldn't steer you wrong with the gold standard of steaks at Joel's Chop House. Indulge in dry-aged steaks, seafood, Wagyu tomahawks, and great views of the Strip.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers. We'll see you on the next broadcast.